Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenmara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight, whenever you happen to be seeing this, I would like to offer your bonus reading for the elemental energy of water for August of 2025. And this is a general reading, so take what works for you and leave the rest for someone else. With these readings, I like to work with the energy of the Celtic Cross for the bonus, so it gives us a good overall view of what's going on and kind of this little snapshot of time, and then we'll pull some oracle cards and get a little more clarification or maybe answer some questions that you may be having. And if you're interested in any of the decks or cards I'm using, they are linked in the description down below. And while you're down there, there's also a link to a natal chart. That is not a sponsored ad or anything. It's just a really good tool. It gives you your natal chart, which is your base 12 houses from the time you were born, and then gives you 10 to 20 pages, letting you know what all of those little signs, symbols, and lines and stuff mean, because it can be a little confusing if you've never looked at astrology before. The one part of it about it that I like is there's a little section in there for your elemental alignment, and it gives you kind of who your top two are. In most cases, people have two dominant elemental energies, and then it shows you which ones you're very low in, or as in some people I know's cases, you'll have 0 of some of them. But with that, we'll get started here. So, water. We're starting you off today with the significator card of the 6 of Swords. The energy I'm getting with this one is it's time to rise above the problems, rise above the situation. You're demonstrating, because there's a little one on the back up here. They're saying you're demonstrating that when in some battles, it's best to use words versus violence. Keep these ready because you'll need them. You might need them later. But what I'm getting is you're showing this energy of rising above, of moving beyond, and there's also this energy of you're kind of scouting ahead. So it's not just one aspect that we're dealing with our water family this month. It's really saying, you know that there's a higher calling. You don't have to always interact with the battles at hand. Sometimes it's better to just rise above it and be like, you know what? You do what you need to do over there. I'm going to watch over here and see what happens. Kind of tapping into that observing aspect. The energy that's crossing you is the 9 of Pentacles. So there's a little bit of success coming in here, but there's also this energy of, since it's a crossing energy, there's a little bit of ego going on here, water, and it's really saying, be careful of the ego getting too swollen, like, well, look what I can do. I can rise above my problems, and I don't have to listen to what other people are saying because I know better. And that's kind of the energy I'm getting here, and you're still having this kind of cocky attitude going on because you got your peacocks and your chickens over here. But so they've got this little bit of an arrogance that's coming in as kind of the thing to work on or to be aware of, because that's kind of the challenge. Yes, you're able to rise above the situation, but the energy I'm getting right now is don't get too I'm better than that, because then things can go a little squirrely. Again, I read intuitively, so the messages may not match the exact meaning in the book, but that's fine. But we're also getting this energy that's crossing you is a little bit of the arrogance and the ego is a big part of it, but there's also this questioning of finances. So you're not sure where you're going to be. Like, you're trying to hold that front and I'm this, I'm that, but there's also this like more subtle energy of like, am I financially doing the right things? Is this, I'm going to keep up the front because I don't want anyone to question what I'm doing. But you also have this little bit of doubt underneath something tying into that. So your higher self is the 4 of Swords. It's been a long week, sorry guys. And the 4 of Swords is an interesting one because again, you're tapping into that air energy just like with the 6 of Swords. But the 4 is saying you fought some battles. Now's a good time to be battle ready if you need to look at it that respect, but also know that it's time to rest. So water, what they're saying is this is a good time for you to make sure that you're prepared, but don't forget to do the self-care. Take those baths when you need to, get a foot massage, get a mani-pedi if that's your thing. Really take the time to take care of yourself. Reading a book, checking out for a little bit, going out in nature, just do something that revives the soul. You're still ready to go if you need to be, but take the time for self-care, because your higher self is saying, Water, you've been doing a lot, and obviously you're working on staying in this higher frequency, and you've had a couple of questions, and your higher self is really wanting you to understand those things are important, but so is taking care of this physical meat suit you're carrying around. People have in the past called it the temple of the divine, and when we really tap into this energy, you carry a spark of like a star seed with you. You carry stardust within you, the breath of life, the spark of fire from the divine, whatever you want to call it, it resides within you. So taking care of that is actually a really important thing. So your shadow self, or your lower subconscious energies, we have the Seven of Pentacles. And with this one, I'm getting this image of there's something that's just out of reach, and your shadow is wanting you to really focus on the value of what you're dealing with in the moment, because if you're reaching too far up, like all the ones at the top, you're going to miss the ones that you can catch, which are these bottom three. So they're wanting you to not focus on all of the other things. Pick a goal and work towards it. Your shadow's wanting to help you hone in on one answer of the end goal. Like you've got these big goals, Water, that are, the house, the 2.5 kids, the white picket fence, the perfect spouse, the perfect job, blah, 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 all this, down the long list, depending on what your list looks like. And what they're wanting you to do right now is your shadow saying, don't worry about all of the noise. Pick one thing, one note, one tone, whatever, and stay there. Allow that to come into existence within your life and within your energy field. And once that is then stabilized, then bring in the next. And the dragon here is looking like there's so many options. And that's what your shadow's saying. You have options, but it's time to really focus on picking just one, not trying to pick them all at once. So let's look at your immediate history, which is the last 1 month, 6 months, or a year. We have the Four of Wands. And with Wands, this is your contrary energy. So this is a little bit of, you've had some interesting imbalances in the last 4 years, or in your history, 1 month, 6 months, or a year. And what I'm getting with this one is there's been this energy of feeling like you're outnumbered, like you've had to fight tooth and nail to get ahead, like you've had to overcome obstacles, because with fire being your opposite, it would be a challenge for you. So this is something that you've had to overcome, you've had to deal with, you've had to fight, and you feel like you just cannot get ahead. And Water, your history is, for the last little bit here, is saying you've overcome. That's how you've got to where you're at now, and you know how to rise above these situations. But your history looks like there's a little bit of rough. It looks like other people were celebrating while you were doing all the work, or other people were celebrating and you were actually excluded from the situation. So there is a very interesting dynamic going on here as far as your history goes. Let's take a peek at your future. Hopefully there's some more cheery there. You have, well, this is interesting, the Page of Swords. And this is saying that you've done your training. There's a little bit more to do. Now you're kind of an apprentice to someone who's more mature. So what this is saying is you've learned, you're aware, but you notice your sword's at the ready, but there's a butterfly on it, meaning you're not in a situation in your future going forward here that your threat is not there. Be ready for whatever's coming, but it's not like you have to be on guard all the time and you have to be ready to go to battle. They're saying that's not necessary. You now are in a situation, because your past has kind of shown you what happens when you're not paying attention, and now you're in a situation where you can pay attention, and looking forward, you're going to be more aware of your surroundings. And I keep getting this energy with this card that you're actually in a situation where there's someone mentoring you, there's someone guiding you through this situation, whatever that situation may be, whether it's finances, whether it's a job promotion, or even a relationship. You could be asking, someone who's been there, done that, like, how do I propose, or what happens if they propose, those kind of things. But you're actually in that situation where you're in a good place, but having that mentor is going to be super beneficial going forward. And it could be 1 month, 6 months, or a year. Your future is kind of open to interpretation and a lot of that stuff, because I look at the energies at play, not the exact futures. So your attitude, this is your mental state, or your kind of, you call it your mental struggles, I guess, if you will, is, or your, the inner voices, is the Knight of Wands. So you're still getting that whole I've got to go to fight. Your inner world is actually at war with your outer world. And this is making for an interesting little bit of life for you, because the Knight of Wands is a very active knight. He wants to be out there and fight and carry on and do all the things all at once, and chaos and disorder. But it's orderly chaos. I mean, it's disorder because it's chaos, but that's what the goal is here. And your inner world is looking like there is a little bit of chaos. You know what you're supposed to do, but you have all these options. You know what you should be aiming for, but what about this other part over here? And what about that promotion? And what about proposing? And what about that house? And what about? And that's where that Knight of Wands just wants to stir everything up and get all these the passion fired up. And that's not really a good call for water. Water needs to be brought to boil and then stabilized. But if they're allows just to go total boil, you'll either burn out or boil over, and that kind of energy doesn't do well. So your inner world is a little bit chaotic right now, water, and that's where your higher self is stepping in, saying you need the self-care. You know how to fight, you know what you need to do, be ready for it if it comes up, but it's not necessary to always have to deal with the challenges and have to, what's the struggle here and how do I make this a different way? Sometimes getting more in tune with your own peace, with your own quiet, really taking that time for self-care, everything doesn't look like a challenge after that. You start to notice that it's more of a wave, like, okay, so now we're up and now we're down and now we're up. And it changes how you respond to it. Instead of coming in, guns a-blazing, so to speak, you can come in being like, okay, so I just need to put the seatbelt on because this is one of those points. And then you can go do what you need to do after that. And that's your higher self wanting you to really tap into that more gentle nature. Your inner world right now is a little bit chaotic, but there's energy coming in saying there's better options. Take a couple of breaths, really do that self-care routines. And they're saying do these weekly if you can. Even if it's something as simple as just taking a bath once a week so you can just relax the body and allow yourself the freedom and the gift of not worrying about the outside world. Let that nonsense over there do its thing, and that will help bring quiet to your inner world as well. So your environment, this is the outside world, the things around you. We have Roman numerals 17, the star. And this is saying that you're being guided by outside forces to a higher state. The star embodies all aspects of the zodiac, and if you happen to be a Piscean watching this, you actually carry every single one of the previous 11 zodiac signs. Whether it's only one lifetime or several, Pisces carries everything. Water literally can cover all of the other ones and make them disappear. So water, you are a powerful force. Your outside world, the energy that's coming in to support you, is the star, meaning all the stars are aligning for you because you carry every aspect of the other 3 elements within water to a certain extent. And like I said, if you happen to be a Piscean watching this, from a Pisces, you carry all 12 zodiac signs within you. Whether it's your first time and that's why it's a little more chaotic than normal, or you're getting towards the end of your cycle in this timeline, then you've already become aware of the fact that you carry all those other signs with you. But they're really wanting you to, they really want to emphasize this energy of you have a higher force coming in to work with you. Your environment is actually a training ground for you to expand. So your history of having to deal with those challenges and the inner world being a little chaotic, these are learning opportunities for you, water, allowing you to expand, to grow, and really anchor in a higher frequency, a higher timeline, if you will. And that's where your energy is flowing. So your hopes and fears, of course it's this one, is number 16, the Tower. And the Tower is creative destruction. So your fear is what happens if I fail? And the rebuttal to that is what happens if you succeed? they're saying that there are some things in place that need to be taken apart. There's aspects of those things that are going to be beneficial, and you need those to go forward, but there's a lot of fluff that needs to be taken out. And the Tower is saying it's time to tear down the old, take the parts that still work, and then build something better in the future. So your fears are the fear of letting go, the fear of change, the fear of what if I fail, what if I don't do good enough, what if so-and-so thinks I'm crazy. The hope is, what if you succeed? You're going to have to dismantle some of the previous beliefs about whatever it is so that you can move forward in success, beauty, and prosperity. And when you do that, you're taking the bricks that work, the ones that aren't shattered, and you're rebuilding something better with them. So the overall energy here, and the Tower to me is always a positive card. Other people say otherwise, that's their thing. Because creative destruction means you're tearing something apart, you're tearing the old apart because it doesn't work the way it is right now. But you're taking the parts that do work and you're rebuilding something even better from the ashes. Think of it more, instead of the Tower, think of it more of like a phoenix, where it has to be burned to the ground to be reborn. And that's the energy that's coming up here for your hopes and fears. Overall, and this is an interesting card to have as your final card, which is the summation of this reading, is number 20, Judgment. This is a call to focus. This is a call to balance. Learning to tap into your intuition, and Water, you're all about the emotions and intuition. So this is kind of your thing. But using your intuition to guide you going forward, allowing you to be judicial in how you move, take your steps. Do I want to make this step? Because that feels like it might take me down the wrong road. Or should I take this other one? It's a little bit harder right now, but the reward in the end is going to be better. This is where judgment is. Discernment is another good word for it. So when you get into your intuition, you're able to discern this is the better option versus that. And Water, what's interesting about your reading this time, for right here, is you have no water signs show up. You have a lot of air, and you have a little bit of fire, and you have some earth. So what I'm really getting from this one, Water, is you're the fulcrum. You're dealing with fire, you're dealing with earth, you're dealing with air. So you've got all these other things moving around you, but you're the center point. You're the one that gets to make the decisions. And this whole reading is coming out to say, take care of yourself. Look inside and see what is the next most important task. Your shadow wants you to remind you. Pick one. You can't do them all at once, so pick one. And when you get the one, and you're in alignment and you're feeling rested, everything else is going to start to flow into the right state. Water, you're all about flow. Everything moves the correct way, and that's the energy that's coming forward here. So the underlying theme with this reading, kind of like the thread that ties things together, is number 4, the Emperor. The Divine Masculine is the energy coming in, and this is an energy of guidance. This is an energy of rebuilding. This is an energy of conquering, but not conquering as in going to war, as conquering as succeeding. This is an energy of very good luck that you've got built up here. And it may not feel like that, especially with some of the more dark aspects of this reading, but the reality is, Water, you have had a lot of lessons that you have learned, and it's triggered a little bit of self-doubt, that crossing energy. But your shadow is saying that's not an end. It's a call to pick a direction. It is a call to figure out what your goals are and select one and put your energy to that one. Then once that one has accomplished, then you take the next one and you work through your goals systematically. Your higher self is really being loud right now, saying, take care of the physical form. The physical form and the mental aspects are so extremely valuable to you, Water, that it's a good call to take some time to just relax and allow that energy to settle within you so that you feel more at peace with yourself and more harmonious with the world around you. So let's hop into the Oracle and see what else we can find out here. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know your thoughts, feelings, and impressions. And as I read intuitively, if you see or hear or sense something different intuitively from the cards, feel free to drop that in the comments down below as well. And with that, we'll get started with the cards. And if you're asking a specific question, go ahead and push pause before I read the name of the card. That way you can ask your question and see if the answer comes through. So your first card is Number 40, with mindful group think. They're saying that this is how your head's kind of feeling right now, water, is everything is going around in your head, it's swirling. You're not sure what thoughts are yours, which ones are your higher self, which ones are your shadow, which ones happen to be intuition. And so there's this energy of how many people are really living in my head. And it gets a little chaotic. And when you look to your tarot, it's saying with the attitude, the inner world card, it's the fire. So you've got this a little bit of chaos going on in the mind. And number 40 in the group think, or the mindful, is saying this is why it's good to calm the mind, take the time to really get centered, and allow the chaos to kind of simmer. It's not advisable just try to, put it all out at one time, but bring it down a notch or 50. That way you could actually sort through and pluck the parts that you need to keep, and then you can slowly push the other stuff out of the way. They're saying that this is not unheard of for water to carry everything, at the surface level, but they're saying right now it's better to kind of thin it down a little bit so you can focus better. So your second card is number 56, the wall and obstacles. This is not about saying no. This energy is about not yet, or there's a better option. When we walk and stick our noses straight to a wall because we're, maybe not paying attention where we should be paying attention to, a lot of the times we see the wall directly in front of us and it's like, well, that's it, that's the end. But what I'm hearing with this card is turn around, turn to the right or to the left. Is there a door? Is there a pathway? Like, you ran into a wall, there's an obstacle in front of you, but is that the only option available? This energy that's coming up is wanting you to really tap into this. Is this the only thing? And water, be honest with yourself. You don't tell me, but tell yourself. Is this the only option? If the answer is no, then what are your other options? What are your other choices? Give yourself the opportunity to not be stuck here, but to look around a little bit and see, okay, well, there's this barrier in front of me. There's this obstacle. Is it an obstacle of a lesson that I need to overcome? First question. Second, if it's not something you're going to be able to overcome, is there an alternative path? What else is here that I could, alter just a little bit and get to my destination the same, within reasonable time? And that's what they're wanting to say is not all obstacles are no's. A lot of them are wait, or look around and see if there's another option to how to get to the end game, because that's what's coming forward here. So your third card is number 52, straddling worlds, wandering between realms. They used to call people who walked the more spiritual path versus the standardized religion one, the people who walk between worlds. You can call them Wicca, witches, wizards, sorcerers, whatever. They were people who did not live in just this third dimensional realm. And water, because you are so immersed in your emotions and your intuition, you're able to see a lot more and experience a lot more. Your clairs are more opened up. So the energy that's coming up with this card is saying, embrace your weirdness. Embrace the parts of you that are unique. You don't have to push it on someone else. Accept who you are to yourself. Then the right people, you'll start to attract the tribe that you're aligned with. You'll still attract the random person who wants to be a little more caustic because they think they need to save the world, but that's a them problem, not a you problem. But what this is saying is when you start to understand that you don't just walk in the third dimension, you don't just walk in the earthly plane, water, you specifically walk between realms. It's not just one timeline, it's not just one place in existence. Water walks through everything. Water, because of its fluid nature, can really go anywhere and do anything. So what we're getting with this third card is don't think of everything in one dimension as one path or one option. You have other options, and that's where your shadow wants to bring forward. Pick the next option that you want to go towards and do that. When that one's complete, then get the next one. But don't get locked into this is the only path mindset, because that's not going to be beneficial for you, water. You walk in every realm, you can literally shift a timeline and make it more aligned for what you're after. So with that, I will let you guys and gals go. If any of these messages resonated, please, like I said, comment down below. And if you saw something different with the cards, I love hearing what other people see and hear with the cards. So feel free to drop that down there. With that, I will let you guys go. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video.